You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Hour, the show that brings you unfiltered stories and insight from the Twin Cities real estate world with your hosts, Chris Rooney, broker at RE/MAX Preferred, and Andy Presky, leader of the Preferred Home Team at RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
Where's Andrew?
He's coming.
No, he likes a grand entrance. He always has.
Check out my little background here. This is $10 a night in Chiang Mai. So I think a lot of people wonder how I travel, but you can find deals. It's not the best in the world, but you got your own bed, you got a toilet, and there's a pool right outside. So $10. Just don't have really a good work area.
Yeah, I seen you posted something with a bunch of food.
Morning.
We're gonna see how much we got to travel on. So that all that food that you had yesterday, Nick, that you ordered, how much was that?
That was expensive. It was $9.70, but it was 4 meals and it was delivered.
For 4 meals,
Yeah,
delivered. Andy, so that's $20 a day. So this guy's living on $600 fed and lodged for $600 a month.
it's not bad.
We can't buy eggs for that anymore.
Yeah, no, I think that sounds cool. Of course, I got to see the settings, too. I got to see where we're at, who I'm with, Am I in an apartment? Am I, in a big 5,000 square foot house on the ocean? Am I,
No, he's stuck in some, like, there's bars on the windows and stuff, but still.
There's a pool right outside, though. I just go jump in the morning.
I think the point is that if you were interested in that, you could retire there as long as you felt safe and retire pretty cheap.
Trust me, there's plenty of guys like you out here. Big old white dudes over here.
What?
Hey, I'd take offense if it wasn't true.
I just the old part, big old white guys. That's the old part. and the big. Well, all of them actually.
Well, that's Nickelodeon and Disney did that to us. The dad's always the goofy bastard in the show, and I'm the dad. Talk about a disrespectful society.
You do really good with the dad thing.
Oh, they do. Look at any Disney or any Nickelodeon show that's out there, and they completely make the dad role a joke.
Yeah. Let's fight back, Andrew.
I don't want to. I just won't watch their shows. That's how I fight back. Not that I'm on Nickelodeon or Disney anyway, but my kids might be.
Hey, I think I got some good optimism for 2023.
Good. You're always optimistic though, even though I
have to be.
Force you to face reality once in a while,
No, you gotta. What's the alternative is not as fun, so you might as well stay positive. But I don't know. I just think there's a lot of things coming, and I don't know. I think people are buying into it now, not word as much. I got 4-5 calls this last week to listings and or buyers. It's very interesting. Other people kind of getting ready again and ready to kind of go. And
we had tremendous luck at our open houses. Every open house from Woodbury to Edina. I had one in Golden Valley too. Crazy. I mean, compared to a couple weeks ago, granted holiday season, because we don't really stop doing opens. We've always been big fans of open houses, but tons of people, tons of traffic, tons of people saying, hey, this is our year. And I think there's a combination of people just getting used to, or like you and I have said last year, as new fish enter the pond, they don't know that the temperature is different anyway. So life event happens. Hey, we want to become a homeowner and rates are at 6.25. That's cool. Let's go. They don't know any better. They don't know any different. And so they budget on the current rates. But what I will start to project saying is pressure put down on the price points they can afford. So, if their payment's $2,000 a month with so many dollars down, that puts a price point that's different than it probably was a year ago, probably $60,000 less than it was. So again, there's more pressure put on that. I don't want to say low end because it's not. Geez, a $300,000 house should not be considered an entry-level house. But on the other hand, that's kind of where
it is
to start.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so let's let's move forward. I think we got a lot of stuff to
You
talk about.
you have a church or a funeral today? You're pretty dressed up.
I can't. Well,
oh my God. It's a nice house.
yeah, we're gonna go show that little baby
That
today.
that looks similar to the house you're occupying right now, isn't it?
I might even put a tie back on, Andy.
Isn't that funny though? You go to these appointments and they hire you because of you, your reputation. You've been around for years. It's not like you're new to the scene, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you sit there and you show up in a tie. And they're like, "Who the hell are you?" You know?
Hey, I used to wear a suit every day, but so
Well,
COVID kind of changed that. Now I got to kind of get back into it.
I had a buddy of mine refer me to his friend and $3.5 million buyer. And I mean, talk about a fun price range. Holy crap. And I show up the first time I'm wearing a nice shirt, jeans, and fancy shoes. And he goes, "I thought they said you always wear flip-flops." I said, "Hey, you opened up the gate, my friend." And next time we were both wearing flip-flops and shorts out having fun looking at houses.
Yeah, boy, you talk about that, like that price point. It's amazing the differences you can get, just depending where it's at. I mean, for $3.5 million in St. Paul is an absolutely ungodly mansion. You know, on a lake in Minnetonka, it's just got super nice lake shore, and you probably got 6,000 square feet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a real difference in where you place that little $3.5 million abode.
I had a customer call the other day inquiring, mom's getting a little older, and they said, yeah, she's got a place in Minnetonka. It's worth about 1.4. And in my head, I'm not kidding you, Chris, I go, oh, it must be a dump.
Yeah. You know what I was?
Isn't that sad?
You know what I would have said in my head? Sold.
Oh, for sure.
I'll buy that.
You got to have the meeting first, Chris. I'm just on the phone call. I haven't.
Okay.
It might be a little rental property for Mr. Prasky.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. So what was that little real estate prices during the 5-quarter period of April 20th through July of 21 increased over 23%. Fastest of any other 5-quarter period in history. Faster than the bubble in 2000s, early 2000s. I would have said that was probably 2003 to 2005, maybe.
Why do you? I mean, Chris, and I'm putting you on the spot here because this is what we like to do. Why do you think that is? I got a pretty good guess.
Why it was?
Mm-hmm.
Well, obviously there was a little inventory, low inventory, great interest rates.
100% period. Yeah. I think that was it. Lack of inventory. Yeah. And people got sick of bidding on 5 people bidding on the same house. So they said, screw it. Offer $25,000 higher. Then the next neighbor would list at that price that they sold for. And then the same thing would happen again. And they would raise it $25,000 higher to get the deal. And now those deals are gone. Yeah. Those people, they're on a few properties, it's still there, but not many.
I think I would say lack of inventory with an abundance of buyers, because we still have a lack of inventory right now, but we don't have an abundance of buyers back in the market yet.
Well, I think that you kind of you cooled a lot of people off when think about this. If you're out there shopping for a brand new Cadillac that's in your price range, and then they say, well, now we got to shift you over here to a Chevrolet. Nothing wrong with a Chevrolet, but it's not the Cadillac that you thought you were going to buy, right? So it's like you were geared up to buy $800,000 house, and now your budget's $600,000, and so it gets to that point of where I think.
Like that was perfect timing. I didn't think Dick was going to do it, so I was giving you that.
I should have did the old. Here's my button. Here it comes.
A Cadillac or a Chevrolet. That's like buying
both do the same job. Both are beautiful cars. Both are like just houses, right? I mean, same thing. And I think you saw a lot of people shift from new construction to existing, and there's just nothing there. I mean, people are like, hey, I don't know.
Andy, I have to imagine, and I'm being serious here, that your little analogies really help people understand what they're getting into. And I'm being very serious, because if you're not in it every day and you give them something that they understand every day, they can kind of translate it over. It helps me every time I'm on here listening to you.
You're so nice. Thank
Is
you.
it?
God
I
bless
know.
you, son.
I know, that's true.
You're so good to me. Hey, oh, by the way, talking about being good to me, I'm sitting there the other day, and we wandered over to the Armstrong. We watched the Elk River. We have a nephew that plays for Elk River basketball. We're over there and we're having a great basketball game. Of course, our team loses, but that's okay. So we're like, let's go to a place that we haven't been to in a while. So we wander over to the old Sunshine Factory over there in Plymouth, right? And I'm like, God, I remember it was over and we were talking, and all of a sudden I get this hand on my shoulder, and I look, and here it's Jay Daly.
No
And he
way.
goes, hey, we didn't let your kind in this side of town. And just, oh my God, he was full of stories and great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for those of you that don't know, Jay Daly helped us when we were doing he was I believe the market president or sales manager or something over at CBS Radio. And he was now he's over at TV, and he was telling me that we should go to TV. He said maybe we could just white out your faces.
How about white out the bodies instead?
Yeah. He goes, oh, you guys would be great on TV. And then he goes, well, we could white out your faces.
Everyone's so kind. I'll tell you.
Yeah, so he said hi, by the way.
Awesome. Well, hi, Jay.
Here we go. I got a fun little game. It's going to be this or that. It's going to be, I'm going to show you two different things, and you're going to pick which one you like and talk about it as in, for a home or for like resale value. And it's going to be brought to you by Chris Rooney Home Experts.
I was just 1 year old when my family started in real estate, where both my parents were agents. They also dabbled in investing in real estate, rentals, flips, and construction. After college, I went right into getting my license in July of 1990. As a 23-year-old agent in an industry that looks nothing like today, I had to know more for my clients to choose me. There wasn't Zillow or social media to tell them how good I was. I had to win them over with knowledge. With knowledge comes confidence, and with confidence comes results.
Okay, so this first one, industrial.
Who's Kyle Handy, by the way?
What's up?
Who's Kyle Handy?
He's the website.
Do you know who he is?
No.
I think no.
Okay.
Industrial.
So we're not endorsing the website. We're just using it for ideas. Okay.
Yeah, we gave him a shout out.
Shout out.
Big K. What are you doing, Andy? Which one did you do? I went with the industrial.
I'm sorry. I was talking. So which kitchen? I like the dark one.
Yeah.
For me.
So you're industrial as well.
Okay, so Shabby Chick is not in anymore, or what?
Maybe open it up a little bit more. I can't really tell what we're trying to do here. Can you open up your screen a little bit more, Nick?
So it's cut off. I think
okay. So you're asking us like which kitchen we like better.
Yep.
I don't like that
this or that and why.
And the other one has windows with no uppers. That one has uppers, but it looks like it's a country kitchen from an old farmhouse. But
I love the no upper thing. I don't know why. I just think it's real classy and open and bright, and I think you hang out in your kitchen a ton.
Yeah.
And the less, like you have a huge pantry where all the food is and everything like that, and maybe some shelving for plates and some glasses, but I really like it all open. I just think it becomes a much more exciting place to hang out in.
I actually agree with you. I was starting to do a design for a lakefront property, and I had a countertop with the sink on that side of the wall, and I did all windows along that whole 12-foot bank. And because you want to focus the view, that's the whole point why you're there anyway. You're there to be at the lake, right? So bringing that into the house, I think, is so important when you're designing things. And when a situation like that, where you've got an industrial, look like an older industrial building or a single family home, sometimes it's hard to just throw windows in there or whatever. But that is a lot of times when I see all uppers. I built one a couple years ago. We did that. We took all the uppers off the back of the corner of the house. We did one on one, just one window here, and then we did 3 across the back, and it looked like you were outside. It was cool.
Yeah, you need to have. You got to place the windows the right way from where it's facing outside. Because it's hard to get away with a kitchen if you're facing right to a house, then that's a pain in the butt, and that's not going to work for you.
Sure. Sorry.
All right. We're going with carpet or wood floors.
I like wood floors too. Even that luxury vinyl, I like that too. I'm starting to, at first it didn't grasp me because I thought it's a cheaper product. Like it's just a way to give the look without the price. But then you look at the durability that it provides and some of the other neat warranties that they have where it's pretty, indestructible.
There's a big thing to consider when you're thinking wood versus carpet, and that's dinero. It's a lot more expensive, but as someone explained to me too, it's one of those things that you can always do like an area rug to be able to kind of get that warmth in there too. So
I guess we're going too slow, Chris. We got to move a little faster. So I agree. I would go hardwood with area rugs. Go.
Okay. Are we getting picked on?
Yeah.
Light cabinets or wood. I'm a light guy. I'm a all day, all night traditional. Keep it neutral because you can always decorate around it.
I personally like real wood. If it's real wood stained over white, I like white in bathrooms. I don't know why, I just do. I like white in the bathrooms. I like real wood in the kitchen. That warmth and that, I don't know what it is, but I'm a fan. I'm not against. I would buy a house. Funny enough, we had this conversation with my mother-in-law. She just bought a new RV thing that you stay in, right? Anyway, down in Florida. And she buys the really fancy ones where they have real cabinets and everything, and they're very heavy. Yeah. At the pull them into a semi. And anyway, so the one that she bought, they went back and forth between gray, white, or brown cabinets. And each floor plan they saw had the opposite of what she wanted. So I believe, wound up with gray, which she thought she would never like. Now she's been in there for about 2 weeks, and she says she loves it because it goes with everything. The gray, darker gray cabinets. And loves it. And that new construction wise, guys, that is very popular color right now, is the gunmetal gray, is what we call it. And so something in between the two, kind of give you a little bit of both.
I would actually like to have both myself. I like white with some wood. Oh boy, hot tub or pool?
Ooh, look at that. It's got that infinity edge.
I would personally use the hot tub more, but the pool is a whole landscaping lifestyle type backdrop too. And I think the pool would probably, if I had to choose between the two, I would take the pool.
Yeah, and it depends on, okay. And now again, Andy Prasky talking. If you were in Minnesota and you're going to use that pool 3 months out of the year versus a hot tub you can use year round, I'd prefer personally to have a hot tub plus investments a third, if not a tenth of the cost. And when you go to a pool though, it's a lifestyle thing. Like when I was a kid, we didn't have a cabin, but we had a pool in our backyard and we always had parties. So the party was at our house all the time on the weekends. So we didn't crave leaving our house. We craved having the parties. And so it was kind of cool. You know what I mean? It was a different way to do it.
The best pool is the neighbor's pool. Just saying.
Yeah. The one that I don't have to clean on Sunday nights. God.
Yeah. All right. Granite or marble? Can we say marble is marble quartzite?
Well, I was going to say marble, if it's the true species of marble stone, that's different. It's a whole different look. Smaller, less porousness to it, but it's also more fragile.
Imperfections.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah.
Also, in those big swirls 20 years down the road, somebody sits on the counter and it cracks on the swirl. And that is the disadvantage. I have some marble in my laundry room, and it isn't as tough as granite. Our granite looks like it's brand new in the kitchen and the bathrooms, but in the laundry room where it's kind of a cool look, but it's scratched up, needs to be buffed.
I think I ended up choosing granite in the house that I'm currently at for another 10 days and or 20 days. What day is it? Yeah, end of the month. So 19 days. I'm gone. But I picked granite over that stuff because I really liked what the granite looked like. and I'm not a super fan of marble. I just think it's just a whole different feel that goes in your house. But now I think on the new one, that's what I'm getting. So, but that's kind of what that feel is.
Well, we both are big fans of Cambria. You know, we that local made, local brand. Very proud of their product. You know, the pricing is probably one of the top tiers. But that's probably because it's a better quality product, is what I would guess. You know, but
More consistent. Yeah, it's cleaner, neater.
well, it supports the local economy too. I tell you, there as I'm getting older, that makes a difference to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally could go down to the factory and watch them make my slab if I wanted to. You know, and it's like that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Oh, a flower garden or a vegetable garden. Well,
Can we
that
do
one's
flowers.
pretty simple for me.
Yeah.
Flower. I like pretty versus that other garden looks like a lot of work and a lot of rabbits and a lot of deer and a lot of fences that you have to put up.
You guys just complain about the prices of food, so why wouldn't you want a vegetable garden now? It's probably valuable, huh?
Yeah, to save $10 on vegetables, you'd spend 300 hours.
Yeah, but they're not chemicals. They're not loaded with chemicals, Andy.
What's that?
They're not loaded with chemicals.
Yeah, I'm sure there's tons of advantages. I think that the hard thing that I would, you know, I'd rather go down to the farmer's market where somebody really knows what they're doing, local, and they're very fair and they don't use chemicals and they grow their stuff fast. And because it's tough. I don't know if you've ever tried to grow a garden. Unless you grew up doing it and you really have a green thumb, gardens, you'll work your butt off all year to get 3 stalks of corn and you get 1 tomato. And then the next guy down the street has 300 tomatoes a week. They don't even know what to do with all of them. So it's like, there is a difference, you know, I'd go with flowers, bottom line.
We've got a guy who actually played football with Nick, ended up going to Princeton, was kind of going the government route. And all of a sudden he decided he went to, I think Africa, you know, for one of those away from school type things, and really came interested in, you know, developing food and stuff like that. So he's actually got a little place down the street. We get all our vegetables from him. It's not cheap, but it's very healthy and it's very good. And like you said, it's helping out the local guy.
Thought you were going to say Princeton, and I was going to say, oh yeah, it's just past Zimmerman there.
Yeah. That other Princeton.
Yeah.
Aaron's really was inspired by the French Mediterranean too, that whole diet and how they cultivate their food. But yeah,
that's cool.
Ooh, glass door. Solid door. I'll tell you what, for aesthetics, I like the glass door. For hanging out in the great room and watching TV, I kind of would rather solid door.
Agreed.
But I think on the next, I'm doing solid doors, 2 solid doors with windows all kind of around it with the side lights and stuff.
Nothing makes a better statement on a home though when you go into even home builders now are starting to recognize this. They don't just put on the insulated steel punched, you know, doors. They're like that was. They're actually putting on like wood doors, or they're putting on the fiberglass doors, which look like wood without the maintenance. And because when nothing says hello better than walking up to a front door and grabbing that handle, opening it up, having nice hardware on that door is very important. The toe kicks and all that stuff, that's subjective to your style. But, you know, I actually like the traditional, you know, 3 windows across the top and then the 2 panels going down, that wood look. I like in the little dental ledge on the front, kind of cool look.
Remember those, not contests, but they would award like the best payback things, and front door is one of the biggest ones. By putting a front door on it, it probably gave you the best return on your money.
Right. True.
For selling.
Okay.
All right. We've got, geez.
Farmhouse
Sink. Okay. The sink. We're looking at sinks or an undermount.
Undermount. Okay.
It depends what it's used with. But I think I like an undermount better.
90% of the kitchens that we do that are new are undermount, so they can do bigger bowls and they don't spill, and it's money. Yeah, and
less money.
Yeah, farm sink runs you about $2,200, $4,000 more just because of the sink. And when you go to a farm sink, what a lot of people do is they go with porcelain, and it doesn't quite have the same wow factor that if you do a hand forged copper or something that really sticks out, if you're trying to make a statement with it, because there's virtually no advantage. I mean, other than it's a different style, you know what I mean? Plus you lose your little tippy sink if you have, where you can keep your scrub brushes and stuff, which true.
Yeah, it's true.
We have ours laying on the counter. That's why I've said that to my wife 1,000 times. We designed our kitchen and we should have put tippy, drawers on there. So they tip out and you can put your little brushes and stuff in there.
They're really good because then the water kind of sits in there and all the little things you got on top of it, and then it just turns into mold, and it's awesome. Those tippy drawers then disappear and you lose them and then they fall off.
Well, isn't that your dishwasher's problem, Chris? I mean, you don't actually do the dishes.
Yes, I do. I do everything.
I'm so bad. I'm like Mr. Design my meals so I can put it on a paper plate so it's easy in and out. And
I'd much rather use paper plates. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
So, okay.
All right, good segment. Let's get into some funny stuff. Social Media Reacts, brought to you by Andy Praske Preferred Home Team.
Well, they said I could have 30 seconds on the show for a quick ad. Andy Praske, Remax Advantage Plus, Andy@Praske.com if you want to email us. Here's the thing, 22 years in the business, over 1,400 sales. I'd like to help you with your real estate needs. If that's buying, if that's selling, if that's building, whatever it is, give us a call, send us an email. Let's get you started on your real estate journey. I'd like to help you on the way. Lots of experience here, and I would like to put it to work for you. Andy Praske, Remax Advantage Plus. Thanks for listening to the show.
Josie called me up just the other day. Want to see how much her home's worth. Said I'd send her a CMA. Maybe I can stop by, we can talk it over. I just want to list your home tonight. I just want to list your home tonight.
What am I supposed to react to? That was funny.
I think that's the whole idea, Andy. I think their whole idea is just to get you to interact and then maybe follow some other things that they do. That one just leads over to, oh, that's funny. What's next? Oh, here's a house on Hayden Road. Is it Hayden Road or Hayden Drive?
Hayden Lake.
Hayden Lake, yep. I was just up there the other day visiting my brother. I should have stopped by, but I thought you would have.
Yeah, we did see the tire tracks in the snow, but we didn't. There was no foot tracks.
Yeah,
from you.
Well, I thought you'd make me go to the Pizza Ranch again. So
yes,
yeah. And I would have fought for B-dubs. Just saying.
I'd do either.
I heard he's in real estate and doesn't even care if he goes over the mileage on his leased BMW. Oh, that was funny.
Whoa.
I mean, I do think it's quite interesting because, I mean, we have the luxury now of being able to know exactly what everyone does as far as production. And I just sometimes I laugh because I'll look at their car and then try to match with it. And I'll be like, what?
There was one of the guys in our office that pulled up the other day too. I won't even, and it may not even be a guy, maybe a girl. Who's a guy? And pulled up and had the $140,000 BMW 780 IE electric, whatever. And I sat there and go, God, someday I'd love to be able to afford that car.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like 4 times the production this guy's doing. So yeah, I understand your pain.
You got to find a side gig, man.
God, I guess.
Look at a side gig
for B-dubs. Wear some short shirts at B-dubs. Maybe you and I would make some money on the side.
Totally.
Chicken wings and fries.
B-dubs is the opposite of Hooters.
It is. They ask you to cover up.
Exactly. We'd work out well.
Let's say you buy a house for $100,000, guys. You only put down $20,000. You put 20% down. The bank gives you the other $80,000. Then
leverage.
You put $20,000 into the property to fix it up, which is value add. That property now goes up to $200,000. Then you can go ahead and do a cash out refinance, and you can pull out what, 70%. So let's say it's worth $200,000, right? So easy numbers. You get $140,000. That $140,000 that you get out of that property you purchased, guys. Remember, you only put in $40,000 of your own money into the deal. Now you're getting $140,000 out. You can take that $140 tax free, which is the key, and roll it into buying another asset that's going to make you more money.
And
this is how the wealthy stay wealthy.
That off.
And your tenant pays it off. You ain't paying it. Your tenants are. So why not continue to do that and buy and hold? So that's why his strategy is so powerful.
He's wrong. When he's saying his numbers, so you pull out 70%. They don't let you keep 30% equity in your property without paying off the mortgage previously. So what happens is he pulls out his 140, but he's got to pay off the original 80. So technically you have $60,000 to roll to the next one. Don't believe everything on the internet.
Well, I think what I took from that, I got lost.
Calculator and check that.
I kind of got lost a little in it, but basically what he was saying, it's really interesting because I think you see a lot of investors now that think they need to hit a home run on every deal, and I think it's just crazy for them to even think that they can do that. That you have to start out, and sometimes making 100,000 is a lot of money. You couldn't do that in your own job, and people are looking at, well, oh geez, if I'm not going to make 300,000, I'm not going to do it. And then they get 10 people money together and try to do it. And I think you just got to be a little more realistic. And I think a lot of times on the internet, it's kind of shows that it's so easy in which to do. And it's not. I mean, it's obviously the biggest thing is getting that house for the right price, but it's also understanding where that house can go to. A lot of times it's not, the best buy isn't necessarily, hey, that house looks like a good deal and it needs to be fixed up. If you can't get it up and over to where you need it, it's not worth it to do it.
Right. But, well, and some banks too, don't kid yourself. They're not gonna let you do a cash out refi in 30 days or 60 days. So, it's like sometimes they require you to hang on to that loan for 6 months. It depends on the bank, right? I mean, every bank's a little different. If you go into it and you actually have that and you sell it, even the person buying the house, the bank will come in that's financing the purchaser at the 200 and will say, wait a minute, you need to show us what you did to that house to increase the value, $80,000. So there's a lot of missing hoops that they make sound easy. It sounds like it's a big swoop and you're done, move on. And like what Chris is saying, it's not always that easy. There's a ton of parts that they're not talking about. Don't get me wrong, it can happen. It happens all the time. I've done it. Chris has done it. I mean, but you just got to keep in perspective that nowadays with the way the banks are working and they don't want people to set themselves up for failure. So they will go back and investigate. When was the last time it was sold, financed? What was it appraised at? That if they can.
See, I think that guy too, what he was trying to say is that you can buy these houses and let's just say whatever his example was, but now the house is worth 200,000 and he owes 100,000. He's saying, you get a 70% loan to value on that house, keep that house, but yet use that extra money. So let's say it's 70% loan to value. We 140, we have 40 grand to go spend and put into another property rather than selling it, getting taxed on it, and then go and buy another property. Right. There's another way you could 1031 it, but I think what he's saying, and I had done this, and then what happened in 2006, they shut it off, but I was basically able to get all of these properties set up, and jointly, I was able to get a credit line against those properties for $1 million. And so I had $1 million to be able to use to be able to go buy other properties if I wanted for down payment. Well, when the market shifted, what do you think the bank did with that credit line? Done. It's over. And so then it's gone. So you got to kind of got to watch out on that. And I was one of those. The funny part is on that credit line, I never used it. Never used it one time because I was like, well, why would I, if I have the money into these properties, why would I take out more money? And then it'll cost me interest. And so I won't do it. And in reality, what I should have done was bought a bunch of them. And then I would have been in real trouble. It would have worked out really well.
Well, the other thing that example doesn't give is that and you're right, by the way, Chris. You wouldn't look good in orange, but
Yeah.
The example shows him buying a house, assuming that it cash flows, put more money into it, appreciates the price, and then refinances it to generate more money. So in theory, you took 20,000, made it into 40,000, so you doubled your spending power. But now you've also doubled your exposure because now you have $140,000 debt carry instead of $80,000 debt carry. So now you have to improve that property so it rents for more to cover that additional payment now to get the money, because the money isn't free. The money is at whatever you borrow at, because it's not free money that's tax free. It's only profit if you sell. So now you're paying interest on that money as you put it into something else. And so there's interest on interest. And yes, leverage works very well, but you have to understand that leverage, you got to keep moving. And then someday at the very end, you sell your 300 properties and you cash out your 25 million and you're done. But all of that's woven together pretty tight.
Or you die with all of that and then just use equity versus equity lines and stuff like that, because you can die with those properties, then becomes a state law rather than, long-term capital gains. So anyways,
Yep. Sure.
We can't talk about taxes because we don't know nothing about them.
We know nothing.
And it's just going to be a tax that's thrown at you anyways now. It's a consumption tax. They're changing it all.
Hide your money, boy.
What? Nick, we need help. We need help.
An interior.
Translate for us, please, sir.
Yeah.
He was making fun of the interior design people and that are so strict on, the minimalistic look or the industrial look. And it's just kind of a fun little interior design meme.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true. You can spend a lot of money. You start getting into those things and they want everything to kind of match. I don't know. I'm a little more eclectic, I think.
I'll tell you what I think was always fun was when you go to sell an existing home and the main level is kind of dated because that's the way the house was built. And then you go down into the basement and the basement's like modern, brand new, cool, because they just did the basement a few years ago.
Yeah.
So it's up to speed. So I see more of that in the Minnesota environment they're in. I had one young lady that was kind of, I'll share. We were in Maple Grove because this was 10 years ago. And beautiful townhouse on the lake. And, at that time it was only $460. I think we were selling it for. She just finished the basement and she was a super big fan of the look of Chipotle. Right. So she goes and literally remember when they were really industrial, like their plywood tables, and they had they'd use electrical pieces to screw in pipes. And I mean, it was funny. She did her whole basement like that.
Yeah. And
thought, oh my God, everybody's going to just love this. And people came in and they're like, this is disgusting. And
really?
Where are we supposed to sit down and enjoy ourselves? And the feedback, I felt so bad for this young lady. I was like, let's do this. Why don't we take out some of the bars? Because she had bars that were made out of plywood and whatever. And granted, if it was a restaurant, super cool. As your basement where you want to watch the Vikings game or whatever, or, So we ended up having to do a slight remodel on that basement before it would sell. That was 10 years ago, though.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be kind of cool. We could have afforded that if you didn't take out a loan to get a master's degree in theoretical gender studies. I can't comment on this.
I don't remember it ever being such a big deal to focus on gender. I mean, and I'm all for it. Good for everybody that needs the new titles and what I'm all for it. But it's funny. I never would have thought in my life we'd ever have to deal with figuring out what to call people. It's like,
Is that what you got out of that meme? I was saying they spent too much money and they have too much college debt, so they can't afford a house. But you got
right on a degree that
about
doesn't matter.
Degrees.
Basically on the degree that doesn't matter. So I was making fun of the degree.
Don't say
it
that.
Matters. It matters. It just isn't a profitable one yet.
You have to get a degree or else your life is wasted. You'll never live again.
Is that true?
No, it's not.
I should write that down.
I was 2 years on my daughter. I said, hey, if you're going to go, that's great. If you know what you're going for, I know your kids are all in the medical things. Well, they have to do all that stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not going to be in that, it's just, you don't have to go that route, which to be able to do it and learn
It's definitely
absolutely
becoming
nothing.
more prevalent.
What?
That's more prevalent now for sure. Kids
Yeah.
coming out of school and saying we're going to take a break for a year and study what I want to do and figure life out because you're not quite ready to make that life changing decision. Bringing on crippling debt to get a degree that you may not like or use, or do you?
I'll tell you what, YouTubers and people who know how to get it around the internet are way smarter than anyone that's freaking graduated with I don't care what degree. Everything you ever wanted is there, and you can lead yourself into that rather than a teacher trying to tell you what it is. But anyways, that's beside the point. I won't get into that.
Here we go. This is the main segment of the show today, psychology of home buying. I really want you guys to dive deep into this. I got a chart here. There's a handful of points. We're going to go one by one with them. Let me update.
Hey, Andy, that college thing to me is kind of like guaranteed sale programs to you.
Yeah, I get all pissed off. Just, I'm going to start offering one now.
We just kind of throw that out there, and Andy just attacks.
Well, I always say this. It's like putting on bait that they know the fish will bite on.
Yeah.
And customers are such, believers. They want to believe that it's real. And they want to believe that it's going to be a great deal. And then they get ripped off. And then all they did was call somebody that's a scammer.
What I tell you, Nick, we just delayed the most important part of the show because I triggered him.
Yeah. Well, you have choices in life, sir.
All right, here we go.
He pressed the easy button.
So 7 things home buyers consider. Number 1, emotion. Logic doesn't always rule emotions. A study showed that 44% of home buyers spent more on a home because they really liked it, in quotes.
Yep.
44%? I would say it's higher than that.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, I think emotion, let's just flip it from the selling side. What we're trying to do is create that emotion. That's what we want, to be able to kind of get them to, and that's get excited about it. But that's why we're adding the little things too that can get them excited to do it. So,
I can't tell you how many times I've been out there. We are only going to buy a house with a 3-car or a 4-car garage, and if it doesn't have it, just keep driving, Andy. And then also we buy a house with a 2-car garage because they went inside the house and the kitchen was stunning. Or it was their dream family room, dream view, dream lot, dream school district. And they just absolutely fell in love. And all of a sudden, the criteria that they were forcing themselves to shop with got thrown out the window because they loved the house.
It's a 2-car garage. Well, we'll justify it. There's a shed. We can always put a shed in. That's where the lawnmower will go. Yeah, totally. All right. So that's one, emotion.
A home that tells a story sells. If only the walls could talk, stories of past owners can help prospective buyers relate and form an emotional attachment to a home. I agree with that.
I think you'll see that a lot where people kind of put with their marketing materials like, hey, homeowner, what is the 3 things that you most enjoyed about this home? And then all of a sudden, it says, oh, we love the fact that there's a daycare right down the street, and afterwards we can go to the park, and it has a jumper Jimmy John thing that is the best thing ever. Those are things that we probably wouldn't have marketed, but it might strike a chord with someone. So
totally. I think that happens. And then or even like being on the lake, right? Like selling the sizzle, right? And having it where it's a lifestyle thing, or the pool, and having the pool set up for like a pool party when you're doing showings, instead of having everything neatly tucked away. Let's say you have a few umbrellas open and a pitcher of water or whatever out there sitting there. And, so it looks like it's ready to go. And people are like, I want to just move in.
Yeah, we love sitting on the dock and watching the sunset from the west view, Oh, geez, yeah, you're setting a picture. And by the way, Andy, have you heard of a jumper Jimmy John?
The ones that go on the doorways?
No, I have no idea what it is, but I made it up when I was talking about it.
I thought you were talking about those jumper things that go in the doors. It used to go clink on the top of the door, and then the kid goes crazy bouncing around the room,
Yeah. Yeah,
They're
that's what I
hanging
was kind of trying to get
jumper.
to, but I didn't think they'd have that year round, but I just used it anyways.
The
for
Johnny
a fact.
jumpers were an interesting situation because on the top of a stairway, you'd put a child and they would jump around. And think about this: when it fails, it's going to fail bad, and the
Yeah.
kid's going to go cuckoo, cuckoo down the stairs.
I was just trying to
Oh,
create
it's so
emotion
cool.
with that listing.
Our
That's what I was
generation made it, Chris.
Perceived value. Everyone loves added value in a prospective home, but buyers are also motivated by wanting to win the battle against the seller by getting as much value as possible. And I'll tell you what, all of our brochures are made to do exactly that. We're putting in every little feature so someone can justify the fact that, oh my gosh, yeah, I do got to pay $5,000 more, but they do have crown molded in the dining room and they have that hot tub out back on a pavered patio, not just an old cement patio. And so they feel like they're getting a win and they're seeing it. They're a lot smarter than everyone else that has to move their hot tub, put a paver patio in, and then put it back on. That's going to cost them 10 grand.
You know, and I don't do this on every listing, but there are listings where when we're in a competitive environment, we'll intentionally hold back a few items. For example, like let's say in the bar, there's a really cool, bar fridge or a cool light or a whatever, and we'll intentionally hold that back on the sale, saying this is going with the seller. And people come through the house and they want to feel value, and they write their offer, and all of a sudden I'll say, okay, guys, now's when you say we'll take your deal. And we'll give you this. And you were going to leave it anyway, but we'll leave the shed or we'll leave the whatever the item is, right? And then the buyer feels the value of getting something. And that's where then they feel like it's a win for them too. So negotiating wise, I always say leave a couple bullets extra on the side, so when you have the backup plan so that if all of a sudden you're going through negotiating 101 and that buyer's looking for a little, because I'll tell you what, if they don't get it on the front end, they try to get it out the inspection, or they try to get it out the appraisal, or they try to get it out so if you just are fair, right? And you put your fair goggles on, which are kind of, they're very interesting looking.
But Andy, if you do that and you give it to them on that offer, they're going into that inspection thinking, wow, these guys are super cool. And then once they see inspection items, they're kind of like, you know what? They did give us that super cool bar fridge and those
or hot tub.
Yeah.
Right. I've seen it where the hot tub's going with us, and then all of a sudden we negotiate that, and they didn't want to haul it out of there anyway. Because once you get the price to say, oh my God, it's $2,000 to move a hot tub and rehook it up, and then have to put you might as well just figure out a way to buy a new one and leave the one that's there because you're probably going to damage it moving it anyway. Right. And I had one a couple years back. It was in Ham Lake, and the whole thing came down to where it was like they had this huge punch list of stuff to do on a home inspection. And I said, guys, let's offer them the hot tub. And I said, well, listen, you guys take care of all that stuff. We're heading out to Washington State. We'll give you the hot tub as a gift. You guys do all that. After you do all your work, go relax in the hot tub. We'll leave the hot tub behind. And the guy's like, that's an $8,000 hot tub. And I said, it was when you drove it off the lot. Now it's a $1,500 liability because nobody wants to use hot tubs and nobody wants to pay to have them hauled away. So big, huge gap between reality and perception when you're buying those hot tubs.
There's a huge difference between an experienced and inexperienced agent too. You stop that thinking right away. Otherwise, your seller would use the fact that, hey, that's $8,000. Now I'm getting ripped off. But in reality, you said, yeah, that totally makes sense. I mean, it is used, and gosh, if I had to have this hauled away, and I can't get around the property because these other houses are built and will wreck the landscape. So now I got to get a crane that goes over the house and picks it up and brings it out. I mean, it just costs you a bunch of money. Why don't we leave that for them?
Yeah, you got ripped off when you whipped the Bubbles Hot Tub Company towel over your shoulder when you left the show floor.
Yeah. Setting expectations. Good job, Andrew.
That's a good name for a company, Bubbles Hot Tubs.
The vision of an ideal lifestyle, 100%. Selling lifestyle. You want them to buy into what it is. And give an example. I've got a listing coming up in Territory, which is a community that has a clubhouse, a pool, walking trails, covered bridges, parks, and all that kind of stuff. And it's totally a lifestyle. I mean, it's more than you're selling more than a house. You're selling the whole, hey, this is where you want your family to be. And this is the idyllic area, and everyone frolics outside and they trick or treat together and they do all that. And you sell this idyllic life vision and it works.
we had a situation where years ago, again, I would say years ago just to be safe, and we had an opportunity for the kids to stay home that day and play baseball out in the front during the showing, or they could all leave. And I said, you know what? Let's stay home during this showing, and let's everybody play baseball out on the street. And it literally, I don't want to say it was a prop, but it was. The seller's kids stayed home. They played baseball out on the street, had a blast. The kids that were moving into the house were looking out the window going, oh, we want to play baseball. And it was really cool. And so the lifestyle of having that, because that's what their neighborhood did. It was a cul-de-sac lot. And that neighborhood almost every day had kids playing kickball or baseball or whatever in that cul-de-sac. And I said, and then of course, when you're doing the showings, people aren't there, you know.
Right.
Cue the bald eagle, fly over the bald eagle, you know.
Cultural superstitions. Wow, the number of your house or unit can determine whether a home gets sold. In Chinese culture, the number 4 is commonly associated with bad luck, while the number 8 is thought to be lucky. So I don't know how much that's utilized in our market. What do you think, Andy?
The buyers pay attention to it. I've had several buyers where we've gone up and grandma doesn't like the house because the number doesn't add up to 8 or doesn't have an even, you know, or whatever. Sri Lanka, and I had a customer from Sri Lanka and Sri Lanka, as they told me I said it wrong, Sri Lanka. And Sri Lanka, they total same thing. Kind of, you know, I don't know if it's, and they kind of giggle about it, but they do take it seriously. So it's kind of like something that's ingrained in them from the time they're kids to do lucky things and pick lucky numbers. And so it actually is important. I even went as far on one of our new builds to where the house that they wanted on the cul-de-sac in the whatever, and they sat there and they protested to the city or applied for a new address and they couldn't get it.
Really?
Yeah.
I've had it where people
It's a
don't
real
want,
thing.
like, number addresses like 5550 157th Street. You know, they don't want that. They want a name.
Oh,
So
yeah. Yep. Okay. Number 6, first impressions count. Some say it's all about location, but looks count too. A research that studied 63 unstaged homes found that the average selling time of a home decreased to 40 days after going through a facelift. I think that's fair.
we talked about that front door already. I mean, it's a huge thing. I mean, your first impression is big, but I don't know. I think that there's one thing about a first impression when you get to the house, but there's also a first impression on the internet because that's usually everyone's first impression.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta give them a good impression from that standpoint.
One thing that I would caution sellers this time of year in Minnesota is when everybody walks into the basement, first thing they do is they take a big, ooh, I smell water, or I smell musty. I smell, and I'm telling you, it's important this time of year, especially to ventilate those bathrooms, make sure those fans are going downstairs because those aromas, if you want to call them that, get stuck down there. And you do want to get fresh air moving down there. Make sure your air exchangers are on, clean your filters, and then go down there and try to figure out where that might be coming from. And if you do have an old musty, you know, maybe it's a floor drain. A lot of times these floor drains actually have where, you know, everything drips into them all day long, all year long, and they get mildew growing in there. And a lot of that can be right from that little floor drain in the utility room. So, you know, having somebody go in there and actually clean that, you know, bleach it or do whatever you need to do to get that cleaned out can be very helpful as well.
You got to remember too, I think a lot of people, Andy, that kind of buck that, you know, from a seller standpoint, and they say, you know what, God, everything else is perfect. And I say, you know what, it's absolutely true. And that's why everything has to be perfect, because what that buyer's trying to do is find something that's not, and that's what they'll concentrate on because they're trying to get a good deal. So yeah, if your laundry room or your lower mechanical room stinks or it's dirty, they're going to take that, and then that reflects on the kitchen. And so you got to take yourself out of you and put it into the other side. Now, if you're on a lake and you got an unbelievable lakefront lot, and I mean, a lot of people might not even be looking at that house, you still want it to look good because you want them to think that other people want it because of the house. And then now that value becomes crazy because they don't know how much value someone will give to that house versus the land. There.
Or selling that lakeshore and you got the perfect beach and it's covered in weeds.
Yeah.
Spend the 5 minutes to clean the weeds or hour to clean the weeds off the beach. Make that place look presentable and ready for the party. I mean, that's a big part of it, especially in the fall. I don't know why all the weeds come up. I'm sure somebody could tell us. But like in the fall, after dog days of summer, they snap off, whatever, the lakes are low, whatever it is. And
They
there's
catch
weeds
all the
everywhere.
fish all summer long, Andy, and then they're all dead by fall. So then the weeds grow.
See, that's
Yep.
right. So we're scientists too.
Yep. That's all we need. Social proof in a business built on relationships and trust. Social proof matters. Wow. Social proof is key to influence most buying decisions, and there's no exception when it comes to buying a home. Okay, what are they saying?
Mom and dad and friends that come along for the showing, maybe.
What are they
Social
talking
proof?
about? Social proof. Is this something
You have a
that
nice house on the lake. Is it bigger than your neighbors? I think, that kind of idea.
Nick, I was thinking, as much as I appreciate that, I was thinking that, they're the kids that grew up with helicopter parents, a lot of times are used to having somebody hover over them and make decisions with them. And they find a sense of security in a crowd. They want mom and dad and their brother and their cousin and their friend to come along on the showing before they write that offer. And then when they write that offer, all of the group has to decide that they like the house together. And they may not say it that way, but you watch the dynamics of the relation socially, how everybody's approving of that purchase. And then the buyer, who's 27 years old, says, I'm ready to write an offer. But if everybody goes, then they don't.
it changes? Absolutely.
That's my social proof, I think,
All right, you guys both are better than I think you both came up.
Well, what
with
did you
the right
think it was? I'm curious. And it doesn't, it's okay. I'd love to hear what your spin on it was.
Who, mine?
Yeah.
I don't have one. I didn't even understand what social proof meant. So I can't have an opinion. Which way it went, I don't know. Escrow analysis just upped my monthly payment by $300. How could this be so far off? Hey, sometimes from a lot to new construction, it gets valued, but taxes do go up. Sometimes insurance goes up as well. And if they go up at the same time, your escrow payment goes up. But sometimes you think it went up by $300, but what they're doing is they're trying to replenish that escrow account as well. So maybe it was $100 in taxes, $50 in your insurance, and then you're behind, and we got to get you caught up. So it's another $150, and then they'll redo it after that. So
I think everybody's going through this right now because they anticipate everybody's taxes going up. They apparently had a sale on raising taxes, and everybody got to take advantage of it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a joke.
Beautiful. What do you guys got coming up? Anything exciting? Or we saw the big property you had, Chris. What about you, Andy?
Yeah, I've got lots of new stuff coming. I'm not right now. I don't have quite as fancy of homes. I have a lot of under $500,000 homes that I'm putting on the market here over the next couple of weeks. I've got another one coming today in Forest Lake. Had one in Golden Valley on Wednesday of this week. Got a couple more coming too. So I got one coming in Vandus Heights, Brooklyn Park, Champlin, Elk River, all over the place. Chisago Lakes possibly. So, the market is starting to wake up. And I think that a lot of people are, when should I sell? When should I wait? And I'll tell you what, the longer you wait, this is statistics, right? The longer you wait right now to list a property, the more competition you'll have, right? So right now in your area, you run a report and your agent's going to tell you or whatever is going to say, hey, there's only one house for sale within a mile of here in this price range.
Yeah.
That's pretty low competition. That gives you very good odds of having a wonderful selling experience. On the other hand, if now you wait till March for whatever reason you think you need to wait till March for, now there's 10 houses for sale. Well, now guess what's going to happen? Everybody's going to find a house they like. That's starting to shift towards maybe more inventory, maybe, and the offers become less sexy. But
Andy, I got 2 of my TNAS properties are going to go pending. So that's temporarily not available to show. So you can't show them. So how could it sell? Both buyers from the one that had seen it before.
no kidding.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting.
I was wondering how you're going to crawl out of that mess because I was going to go, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I know. Well, and then how you do crawl out of that mess too is you just kind of put it back on the market, for a day or whatever, and then everyone gets a chance on it. Because for people that don't know, temporary not available for showings means it's not available for showings for anyone. And so you have to be able to open up to everyone if you're going to show it.
I usually think of temporarily not available for showing as they something happened in the house. There's an insurance claim, and something flooded, something broke. They found something on an inspection that wasn't safe, and so they're fixing it, and then they're going to bring it back to market. Sometimes it's simple as we don't want anybody in our house during the holidays.
Yeah.
But the other
all mine were.
Guys, the last thing before we take off here, new construction. I'll tell you what, guys. Right now, I have Ramblers. I have 2-stories. And I'm talking free basements, interest rate buy downs, or buying you down on a 30-year fixed rate. We've got so many good deals right now on new construction for some of these homes that were being built. And I tell you, go out before the spring preview. Spring preview starts up here. I think it's the end of February, first week of March. Basically, the month of March is going to be all the spring preview. And right now, these builders are wheeling and dealing. They want them sold. So as rates start coming down, you're going to see people trying to get back into new construction again. So I'd say beat the race, get a brand new house fully under warranty. Not a bad gig. And then if rates ever drop in the future, you refinance that thing and get those lower rates again. But the price is down,
Absolutely.
There's deals out there again.
Beautiful. Hey, give us a review on iTunes, Spotify, like us on Facebook, post 3 clips a week on Facebook and YouTube, and then click our link tree. We have a new link tree. All our websites and everything are on that. So have a great day. See you next week.
See ya.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Real Estate Radio Hour. Don't forget to visit our website, realestateradiohour.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or your preferred podcast listening app. If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes or sharing us with a friend. Until next time, stay awesome, Twin Cities.